Hello everyone, Zitzis here, and today we're going to be talking about setting up the camera animations and UI and dialogue. For camera animations, we're going to go to our resources, DR editor, camera VFX. Then we're going to right click, create, DR editor, camera VFX database. Now, this for the moment won't hold anything, and for this series we won't be using it, but it is required for this next asset we're going to make, where we go to the camera anim folder and create the camera anim database. This is going to be found in resources, DR editor, camera anim that we made earlier. Then we are going to right click, create, DR editor, camera anim database. Now DR editor has preset animations already, so we're going to plug them in by pressing this add new camera animation button and add each one that's available. So you can see here, if we click here, you can see that there is already a list of preset animations that DR editor has given us. So I'm now going to plug all of these in. Next, we are going to go for the UI. To make the UI, we're going to right-click in the hierarchy window, UI, Canvas. And this is going to create this little game object here. We're going to rename it to UI Canvas. Cool. And so, down here in the canvas scaler, it should be probably something like constant pixel size, but you're going to change it to scale with screen size, and you're going to change the reference resolution to whatever your screen is, resolution that your screen is. I just chose 1920 by 1080, and I moved the match with width or height to height instead of width. I just drag this up, or to the right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click our UI canvas and put an image. I'm also going to up here click 2D and then press F. I'm sorry, click on UI canvas and then press F. And it should zoom us out to this kind of UI. Now it's going to also show us the cam tester that I showcased in the previous episode. So I'm actually going to click on that, and I'm going to click this eye here, and it's going to disappear for now. Going back to our UI canvas and image, I'm going to set it to the width and height of our canvas. For me, it's 1920 by 1080. And we are going to replace the sprite here with our UI. But before we do that, we're actually going to do something that we did earlier in a couple episodes back, I believe, where we go to our UI and click 2D Sprite and UI, and click Apply, and that should work. Alright, there we go. If we can now check in the game view what it's looking like. Oh, we can see that some of the trial cam tester is still there, so let's actually click on it and click out this checkbox, Seems that it's actually a bit oversized, so we can go ahead and downsize it a bit. Try to line it up with kind of what we have. Or is that correct? Was that correct? That is correct. Oh, never mind then. Yep. Okay. So now I need to put in the base plate. And by base plate, I mean the nameplate. So for that, we're actually going to be using a random one as an example. And I'm going to do the same thing actually to all of these if I do the same trick that we did in the couple other videos where we select all of them, 2D sprite and UI, click apply. Now we got all that. I can actually go ahead here, right click and duplicate this. Name it the nameplate. And we can use Akira's as an example, and it should fit right in. And I'm going to rename the other one, name it our dialogue UI. And there we go. So now if we check the game, we have a really cool example of what it's going to look like. Now we're going to work on adding text to our UI using something called Text Mesh Pro. So if we right click on the canvas, go to UI, Text Mesh Pro, it's going to give us this download button here, Import TMP Essentials. And this is going to download it for us. Should be pretty quick. And after it's done, it's going to give us this other option here. We don't need that. That's just for other stuff, although I'm sure you can probably add it if you're curious. And now that I have it downloaded, I'm going to name it dialog text box. Alright, let's move it in the scene view. I'm just going to click and drag it. Let's probably put it somewhere like here. And I'm going to scale it to where it kind of looks like that. And so scrolling down here in the inspector window, you can actually see we can change its size, and you can see that our text is quite small, so I'm going to change that to something like, let's try 64. That's pretty good looking. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So I think there, and I think it's lined up pretty alright with what we have. Maybe I'll move it, scale it this way so that it only shows up within the confines of the pink text, perhaps. And so now if we take a look at it in the game view, we can see new text here. And as well for font assets, I believe if you're trying to make a custom font, that's what over here is, font asset. This is something within Text Mesh Pro that it just has. Say that if you want to have your own custom font, you're going to need something like a TTF or an OTF file. I'm actually going to use this one as an example. So I'm actually going to create a new folder in my assets. Just going to name it fonts. And I'm going to go ahead and import it in. Just like that. And so if I right click on it and I go to create Text Mesh Pro font asset, it's going to create a font asset of what I just imported. So if I go back to my dialog text box in the hierarchy window, I can click and drag our new font file in there, and as you can see, it has put in our new font. And I think yeah, that's looking pretty nice. Alright, sweet. And so now I believe we can move on to trial dialogue. Now with this trial dialogue, this is where we get to the really fun stuff. Dialogue assets are objects that hold lines of dialogue and information, like when a sprite changes or a camera animation occurs. To make one, we must go to our dialogues folder and create a new trial dialogue. By going to dialogues, right click, create, DR editor, dialogues, trial dialogue. And we got our new trial dialogue. We can just name this like 1, I suppose. And here we're gonna click new line. And as you can see, it actually uses the characters that we set up. It has a list of all of them here, as well as camera animations that we set up earlier. On top of which, let's see, it also lets us deal with sprite changes. I can actually make this a bit bigger. And so here we can, say, have a character change from thumbs up to its neutral sprite, and I think I'm going to just use Flying Down as an example, use Amano Akira as this other example, say our example character, and I'm just going to put this is test dialogue. And then I'm going to make a new line. I'm going to put it to a different character. Let's try Yuki. Have it like as their neutral sprite, although if they already are their neutral sprite, we just can put no change, because I'm sure if we head out to the characters, get out of 2D mode, zoom in a bit, kind of look around, we can see that she's already in her neutral sprite, because we don't really have those assets at the moment, as well as him, so maybe I'll change it to thumbs up. So we can have that, no change. This is also a test. And I can put the camera animation to, let's go with sweep right back. Actually, no, let's try... let's try sweep right back. Oh, that should be alright. And so, I believe that's it. When you have all of your dialogue assets finished, you can make multiple if you want. The only thing left is for us to take this information that is stored within these dialogue assets and use it in the game. And to do that, we're going to be doing it by coding into the game, and that'll be our final episode. And so, that'll be the next episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you were able to get this far in it. If you have, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that this kind of stuff has helped you. And I'm going to be seeing you guys in the next video. See you guys later.